Good day, Philippines and MoodleMooth. I want to share here about deploying Moodle in Raspberry Pi with Docker and remote. I'm Abdurrahman Mapuji. I'm from Open Learning Exchange. I'm as a volunteer. And first of all, let me introduce myself. So you can call me Puji. And I'm a software craftsman. So basically, I craft software for living, and I currently working full time for Midtrans as a software development engineer in test, helping them to create testing tools and infrastructure for the developers and also for QA. And I volunteering from Open Learning Exchange after I finished my internship with them. So basically, I start my connection and relationship with Open Learning Exchange as an intern, like 1.5 years ago, and it is pretty excited because Open Learning Exchange give me the opportunity to learn and at the same time giving a meaningful contribution to their community. And I'm a blogger and a speaker, so you can see my blog at https://mapuji.org, and you can also see the archive of my talks. I frequently giving talks at least once a year in international conference or like industrial conference like this, and I also an amateur researcher, so I aspire to be a researcher. Maybe after several years of experience in industry, I will pursue my true dream as a researcher. And you can contact me at hi@mapuji.org. Yes, so basically this is the agenda of my talk today. So I will start with the introduction about OLI or Open Learning Exchange, and then the problem we have, and the tools and Docker, the tools including Docker, remote, and some other stuff related to this problem. And we'll finish with a recap, and we'll give some miscellaneous information. And yeah, about Oli. So Open Learning Exchange, or the logo is in the top right, the blue and the white logo. So people raising hands together. That's the logo of Open Learning Exchange. And basically, we are a social benefit organization, and we are aims breaking the cycle of global poverty and violence with high quality education. So we believe that access to high quality education is the right of every people, and we are bridging the gap. Basically, we are developing system to make people able to get the quality education for free. And yeah, it seems obvious because we are all have internet, but imagine people in Africa, in a small country in Africa, maybe doesn't have that much connection to the internet like we today. And Open Learning Exchange is also a open source project sponsor. So we have two open source projects. So basically, one is Treehouses. It is a new projects like or just started uh, around 4 months ago. Basically, it is all the Open Learning Exchange is effort in developing a system and infrastructure for deploying multiple educational apps in single board computer, especially Raspberry Pi. And we deploy various learning management system from Moodle, our own homebrew LMS, and some other. And basically, Moodle is one of them. And we want to share to you about how we deploy Moodle with Docker. And we do decentralized deployment with Raspberry Pi. Basically, we have a paradigm where we have multiple community, and community connected to a nation, and a nation connected to Earth. That's kind of a paradigm we have. So basically, we do deployment in decentralized manner. And okay, the problems. So the problem we have is I want to build a platform where people can deploy various educational apps in single board computer, and one of them is Moodle, obviously. And basically, there is some problem when we want to do this. The first problem is you want to make it easy for the operational team that deploy the stuff, because you know when we deploy our stuff, basically our people is not living there with people who use our apps, our software that we deploy, but the people who maintain and operate the software is people is also as the part of the community, like the people there where he or she has the most skills in computer, and they are doing operational stuff like installing the software, installing Moodle and everything. So we want to make it easy for ops, for here meanings for the one who deploy the stuff, and we are developing Bluetooth Raspberry Pi remote control for that. So basically now we have an apps that if they want to deploy Raspberry Pi, just click deploy Raspberry Pi. Sorry, if you want they want to deploy Moodle, they just click deploy Moodle. They want to shut down Moodle, just click shut down Moodle. That kind of stuff. And we want to deploy it in small machine. Basically, we're deploying in Raspberry Pi. Why? Because we want to make it possible to power the machine via a power bank, a battery. So it is lower the barrier for people to operate and deploy the stuff. And we want to deploy multiple apps. So one of our deployment running our own learning management system and also Moodle. And we also want to make it easy to bootstrap all the process. So basically, we create our own Raspberry Pi OS image. So it is pre-installed with Docker, with our command line tools and everything, that people just grab our image and burn it into their SD card and put it in the Raspberry Pi. And when they're turning on, they got everything. They just can click several buttons, several commands in terminal, and they can get Moodle. They can get our learning management system and many other free educational stuff. And obviously, you want to also to package Moodle in that Raspberry Pi. Yeah, and tools for the problem. Tools number one is Docker. So what is Docker? So in a simplest term, it is a container engine. So basically, Docker is a container engine. So what is container? Imagine you able to pick. Imagine the time that when you develop something or you want to install something, and when you install it, you got succeed, and at the same time your friend doing the same, but your friend is failing. That's the thing that we don't want to achieve, right? Our friend is failing because maybe they lack of some dependency, unlike ours. So basically, Docker is packaging your application with its library and dependency into a single container and put it in a Docker engine. That's kind of stuff. And so basically, if we want to learn more about Docker, so the easiest way to demonstrate is comparing Docker container with virtual machine. So previously, in an old way, we have our server. It can be a cloud in AWS, in Google Cloud Platform, in Azure, or it can be a server living in our data center, or it can be a computer, our own laptop, and then we install the host operating system. It can be Mac, it can be Linux, it can be Windows, and then we install another OS on top of our OS. In the, with a hypervisor layer, we install a virtual machine with another OS, and then in that OS we install another service. Service means software, so we install Moodle number one, and then we also want to create another Moodle. We install Moodle number two in application in the virtual machine number two, and so on and so forth. But in a Docker way, you can delete the guest OS layer, and you just need the bin slip. So basically, by replacing the hypervisor with the Docker engine, now you can put a container on top of your Docker engine and you can run your apps. So basically, you can imagine the apps one is the Moodle number one, apps two is Moodle number two, and so on and so forth. That's kind of thing. So basically, it is deleting the big overhead in creating the guest OS, because emulating machine uh, is a resource hungry process, right? So we simplified that by having a Docker container. And this is the example of Docker container. So basically, you can doing help, seeing for version, and then you run a hello world image and many kind of stuff. And you can also create your own Docker container. So basically, if you have an apps and you want to contain, you want to package it in container, you can do Docker build, and then you can run your own Docker container. You can see which image you have in your machine, and then you can push it into some repository online, and so on and so forth. But there is another tool called Docker Compose, and it is basically like an octopus, like here, which help you instead of you are doing Docker run Moodle A, Docker run Moodle B, Docker run Moodle C. Basically, if you can create your own definition of service in a simple YAML file in declarative manner, and then let's Docker Compose read your files and then installing in your behalf. So this is the example of our Moodle. So it is the one that we built. So it is called Treehouses Moodle, and this one is the example for installing the stuff with Apache. And basically, is the definition. We have services, MoodleDB and Moodle. Basically, one is for database and one is for the Moodle itself. And after that, we can Docker compose -f for the location of the YAML file, and then moodle up -d for running up the Docker container. And then after that, you can have something like this when you open your machine. So in this example, I install the stuff in our virtual machine connected to mapuji.media.mit.edu. That's all. So it's pretty straightforward. This process only takes you 2 or 3 minutes. And tools number 3, it is specialized Raspberry Pi OS. So we already told you that we basically once have a image, OS image that can bootstrap all the process. So basically, Treehouses Builder is our Raspberry Pi OS image builder. It is basically defining every kind of apps we want to package included in our Raspberry Pi image, and this is pretty handy because we can get Docker, Balena, Pirate Ship, and everything right out of the box since the beginning. After we deploy or install the OS in our SD card, and then you got everything. We got everything out of the box, and we can start to install Moodle. And tool number 4 is Bluetooth Android Remote. So basically, it is an alpha project. So basically, here is a project that trying to wrap several functionality like deploying Moodle, deploying other Dockers in a simple button. So basically, we have several set of buttons that can uh, trigger the way we deploy stuff. So people don't need to write command by themselves. They can just click the button. But it is basically a wrapper of SSH connection. So basically, it is basically a terminal connected to your Raspberry Pi. You can do terminal by yourself, or you can click the button and let the remote do it for you. That's pretty interesting, right? and it is open source, but it is still in alpha version, so it is not stable yet, but it will be stable soon because uh, in the end of the year we will have several more deployments, and soon the closest from here is you want to deploy our app in Papua New Guinea. Okay, so the recap. So basically, the recap is very simple. So basically, oh yeah, I forget to tell one thing. So basically, the ops that will running our app is Tech Geniuses, which is people in the community in the rural area, obviously, that have the most computer knowledge from all of them, and they deploy it. But the most there maybe don't know about how to running Docker and everything. So basically, the tech geniuses who operates the stuff will use a phone which connect to Bluetooth and then connect to Raspberry Pi, and then can maintain the operation of the Moodle or other services running on the Raspberry Pi by themselves with from Bluetooth. Very handy, right? And that's all. And last but not least, some miscellaneous information. So basically, we are looking for virtual software engineering intern, and then Android software engineering intern. Basically, we open for intern from all over the world, but it is not a paid internship. It is free internship. Uh, but when you join this internship, maybe your friends, your uh, your child or some family which are still in school can join this, and they can increase their knowledge in software engineering, system engineering, Android engineering, and basically by them learning and interning here, they make themselves better, and at the same time makes a meaningful contribution for Oli, especially or from Oli and also for the world, because Oli will deploy the stuff to several other places. So the thing that we do here have an indirect impact, a bigger impact to people that we will have access to our stuff. So imagine for people that seeing the computer for the first time, that computer can serve them a lot of knowledge. We can motivate them to learn more, and then open their eyes that there is a technology, and they can learn uh, technology, and they can also learn anything from that technology. Pretty useful. So that's all for my presentation. If there is any question, feel free to ask me. Thank you.